Welcome to Inkstain Confessions, where the truth is messy, the love is complicated, and nothing's off limits. Sloan Part 2. The next morning, Riley stirred awake, groggy but wearing a small smirk as memories of the previous day flooded back. The nail shop encounter, the numbers from the two women who were clearly involved with each other, Daniela's sly smile. It all played like scenes from a movie. She stretched under the covers and let out a satisfied sigh. But the highlight of her morning wasn't the past. It was the breakfast she had planned with Angela. She reached for her phone, queued up Roll Some Mo remix by Lucky Day, and let the smooth sounds fill her apartment. Lighting a joint, she took a deep drag, feeling the vibe settle into her bones as the music's rhythm flowed through the space. Moving to the beat, she slid open her closet and pulled out her outfit for the day. She chose tailored tan trousers with subtle pinstripes and a crisp white tank tucked underneath. Over that, she draped a lightweight olive green bomber jacket. The jewelry gave the look its edge, a delicate gold chain around her neck, small hoops in her ears, and a slim bracelet on her wrist. She added a touch of gloss to her lips and filled in her brows just enough to make them pop. The whole look was relaxed but intentional, the perfect balance of cool and chic. She danced around her apartment as she got dressed, stopping here and there to take a pull from her joint, the music wrapping around her like a second skin. Her phone buzzed on the counter. A message from Bria. "Hey girl, just checking on you. How'd last night go?" Riley smiled, typing back. It was a vibe, but nothing wild. "You know how it is. About to run out for breakfast with Angela now." Bria's reply came quick. "I love that for you. Keep me posted." Riley tucked her phone into her jacket pocket, slipped on her sneakers, clean, all-white low-top Nikes, and grabbed her keys. With a final glance at herself in the mirror, she gave a small nod. She looked good and she felt good, ready for whatever this breakfast had in store. Breakfast with Angela, the cafe Riley picked, was tucked in the heart of the city, a cozy spot with floor-to-ceiling windows that let the morning light pour in. A scattering of plants hung from the ceiling, giving the space a lush, inviting vibe. Angela was already seated at a corner table, her smile lighting up as soon as she saw Riley walk in. "Hey, stranger," Angela greeted warmly as Riley approached the table. Riley returned the smile, leaning in to exchange a quick hug before sliding into the chair across from her. "Look at you bright and early," Riley teased. Angela laughed, her dimples showing. "I couldn't sleep. Been thinking about this breakfast since last night." The conversation flowed easily. They talked about everything: work, mutual friends, music, and weekend plans. Angela was charming without trying too hard, funny in a way that felt natural. Riley found herself laughing a lot, the time slipping by without notice. When the check arrived, Angela slid her card across the table without hesitation, flashing Riley a knowing look before she could protest. "My treat," Angela said with a wink. "You sure?" Riley asked, though she was already settling back in her chair, appreciating the gesture. "Positive. Just let me enjoy spoiling you a little." Angela grinned. After breakfast, they strolled together toward the parking lot. The morning air was cool and crisp, and the city was just beginning to stir with life. Riley walked Angela to her car, opening the door for her with a playful, exaggerated bow. Angela laughed, sliding into the driver's seat. "Always the gentlewoman," she teased. Riley leaned against the doorframe, hands in her pockets. "Always," she replied with a grin. Angela hesitated for a moment, biting her lips slightly before looking up at Riley. "Does the morning have to end?" Riley held her gaze, the invitation hanging between them like a question that didn't need an answer. She smiled, slow and easy. "It doesn't." And with that, the door clicked shut, and Riley knew the day was just getting started. Riley stepped into her apartment after breakfast, feeling the weight of a long week settle over her. Kicking off her shoes, she left them near the door and stretched out across her bed, sinking into the comfort of her sheets. The breakfast date had been nice, but it left her drained in the best way. Before she could overthink the day, she closed her eyes and drifted off into a deep, dreamless nap. When she woke up hours later, the sun had long since disappeared, and her place was dark except for the glow from her kitchen clock. Riley stretched, her joints popping pleasantly as she stood and wandered aimlessly around the apartment. She checked her phone, nothing too interesting, and then, as if on cue, a message popped up. Sloan, 11:30? Riley's lips curled into a small smile, and her fingers hovered over the screen briefly before she responded. Riley, absolutely. By 10:30, Riley was pouring herself a glass of wine. Smooth jazz filled the apartment, and the low hum of the music settled her as she started getting dressed. She pulled on cargo shorts, a graphic tee, and her Vans, simple and practical. There was no need for jewelry. She wasn't dressing to impress. Just a dab of Burt's Bees on her lips, and she was good to go. Riley showed up at Sloane's place right on time, and they slipped into their usual rhythm without missing a beat. Their meetups were always easy, playful, fun, and without pressure. The sex that night was no different, wild and satisfying, full of laughter and teasing. They both knew how to play off each other, and by the time they were done, Riley's muscles ached in the best way. They lay sprawled across the bed afterward, the air thick with satisfaction. Sloane reached for a joint and sparked it, offering it to Riley, who took it with a lazy grin. "This is rare," Riley said, taking a slow pull. "You don't usually smoke after." "Figured tonight called for it," Sloane replied, her voice smooth as ever. She stretched beside Riley, her body relaxed, but her eyes sharp, as if she was waiting for the right moment to say something. "You know, the campaign's ending soon," she said, her voice steady, as if talking about just another project, but Riley felt the weight of it. The end meant that Sloane would be leaving. The success of the campaign had been bigger than anyone had expected, making waves on social media and drawing in the kind of attention the company had only dreamed of. For Sloane, Houston was a pit stop for the campaign, and nothing more. Once it wrapped up, she'd be returning home to New York. Riley hadn't really let herself think about it until that moment, but it was clear that Sloane's departure was imminent. Sloane reached out, gently tracing her fingertips along Riley's hand. Riley stepped out of the office, loosening the top button of her blouse as the warm Houston evening wrapped around her. She tilted her face toward the breeze, the lingering heat of the day still heavy in the air, but not enough to stop her from enjoying it. It had been a long day, but now it was time for a drink. A good one. Her phone buzzed in her hand as she checked the group chat. Talia, "We're at Anvil. Get here soon, girl." Sierra, "Bria ordering drinks already. You know how she do." Riley chuckled, imagining Bria hailing down the bartender with her signature confidence. By the time she arrived at Anvil, a dimly lit cocktail spot nestled in Montrose, the vibe was already set. Soft laughter drifted through the outdoor patio, and the scent of citrus and tequila hovered in the air. Riley spotted her friends at a high-top table near the bar, their energy buzzing as glasses clinked and stories flowed. Bria pushed a glass toward Riley, something colorful with mint leaves floating on top. "Here, drink, no questions." Riley drank because of course she did. The clink of mimosas and the hum of weekend chatter filled the corner booth as Riley stared at her phone under the table, trying not to grin too obviously. Talia caught her. "Okay, who's got you cheesing like that?" Riley shook her head, slipping her phone face down on the table. "Nobody, just this girl, Harper. I follow on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Just somebody you follow? Riley sipped her drink, pretending to focus on the menu. Don't read too much into it. That might not even be her name. But even as the conversation shifted back to brunch orders, that faint private smile stayed on her face. And then it happened. She felt it before she saw it. A shift in the air, a prickle along her skin. Riley glanced toward the bar, and there she was, Jasmine, the woman she'd ghosted a few weeks ago, standing just a few feet away, talking to someone else, but very much aware of Riley's presence. Their eyes locked for a moment, and Riley saw it. Confusion, irritation, and maybe a little disappointment flashing across Jasmine's face. Riley tensed. She hadn't expected to run into her, especially not here. It wasn't like they'd had anything serious, just a few dates, a couple of good conversations, and one very steamy night. But after that night, Riley went quiet. No text, no explanation, just silence. And now, here they were. Talia leaned in, catching the look on Riley's face. "What's up? You good?" Riley forced a smile, breaking eye contact with Jasmine. "Yeah, just saw somebody I wasn't expecting." Simone, always quick to pick up on vibes, followed Riley's gaze and smirked. "Oh, wait, is that her?" "Her who?" Sierra asked, intrigued now. "Jasmine," Simone said, nodding toward the bar. "The one Riley ghosted." The whole table erupted into laughter, soft, playful, but relentless. "Not you getting caught in 4K, Riley," Nia teased, shaking her head. Bria leaned forward, her grin mischievous. "You didn't even say nothing to the girl, just vanished?" Riley groaned, slumping back in her seat. "Y'all, it wasn't even that deep." "Apparently, it was deep enough for her to remember you," Talia said, raising an eyebrow. "And now she looking at you like, really, sis?" Sierra added, laughing. Riley tried to laugh it off, sipping her drink as the girls kept roasting her. But the truth was, it didn't feel funny. Not really. Something about Jasmine's look had stuck with her, not just the surprise of being caught, but the realization that she had hurt someone, not in any big, dramatic way, but enough. Riley sat for a moment swirling her drink. Then, with a small sigh, she pushed back her chair. "Oh, shit," Simone said with a grin. "She's going in." "Go handle your business, girl," Talia whispered, nudging her. "Make it right." Riley smiled, but her heart beat a little faster as she crossed the room toward Jasmine. The other woman saw her coming, folding her arms across her chest, her expression guarded but curious. "Hey," Riley said softly, stopping just short of Jasmine's table. "Can I talk to you for a second?" Jasmine raised an eyebrow but didn't move. "You mean now? After weeks of nothing?" Riley winced but held her ground. "Yeah, I owe you an apology." She glanced around, then met Jasmine's eyes again, speaking with quiet sincerity. "I ghosted you, and that wasn't cool. I got caught up in my own stuff, and I didn't think about how I was treating people. I just want to say I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that." Jasmine tilted her head, her expression softening slightly. "I mean, it wasn't that deep, but yeah, it sucked." "I know," Riley admitted, "and I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted to say that to your face. I'm working on being better." Jasmine studied her for a beat, then nodded slowly. "Okay, I appreciate that." Riley offered a small smile. "Enjoy your night, all right?" Jasmine's lips curved into a faint smile. "You too." With that, Riley turned and headed back to her table, exhaling a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. The knot in her chest loosened just a bit, and she felt lighter, like maybe accountability didn't just sting, maybe it healed too. When she slid back into her seat, Talia gave her a knowing look. "How'd it go?" Riley shrugged, a smile tugging at her lips. "Handled it," The girls burst into laughter, clinking their glasses in approval. See, now that's growth, Simone said, raising her drink. Riley laughed along with them, the weight in her chest easing further. It wasn't perfect, but it was a step in the right direction, and for now, that was enough. As the night wound down, the girls settled into a comfortable lull, sipping the last of their drinks and swapping plans for the next few days. They all laughed, the easy rhythm of their banter wrapping around them like a familiar song. As they each stood one by one, gathering bags, keys, and jackets preparing to leave, hugs and handshakes passed between them, warm and familiar, a reminder that no matter how busy life got, they'd always circle back to each other. "Catch y'all in the group chat," Bria called out as they made their way to the door. "Always," Riley replied with a smile, tossing a playful salute. Tomorrow was another day, and whatever it brought, she'd meet it head on. Riley glanced at the time on her phone, 5:31 p.m. Finally, she let out a breath as she locked her computer screen, grabbed her bag, and made her way to the elevator. The day had dragged, but now the fun part was about to begin. Her phone buzzed as she stepped into the parking garage. "Tiana, we still on for 8?" Riley smiled to herself, her thumb tapping out a quick reply. "Absolutely." The excitement settled in her chest as she tossed her bag onto the passenger seat of her car. Date night. A good one, she hoped. Tiana had been fun so far. Easy conversation, a killer smile, and the kind of confidence Riley found herself drawn to. After a quick rest, it was time to get ready. She lit a candle, lavender and sandalwood, and made her way to the bedroom. A few taps on her phone, and the smooth, sultry notes of Jasmine Sullivan's Hotels filled the space. Riley swayed to the beat, rolling her neck, loosening her shoulders as the rhythm sank into her bones. With practiced ease, she pulled out her stash, rolled a tight joint, and sparked it. She inhaled deeply, the weed wrapping around her like a familiar friend, slowing her thoughts just enough to enjoy the moment. She danced as she smoked, swaying in front of the mirror, already picturing how she'd pull her look together tonight. She slid open her closet, fingers grazing hangers until she found what she was looking for. Tailored black pants, the kind that hugged her hips perfectly and gave her that sleek, polished look. Next, she pulled out a blouse with soft ruffles along the front, just enough detail to add flair without overdoing it. Over it, a sharp dinner jacket with elbow patches, the kind of piece that gave her outfit a little edge. For shoes, she settled on polished black loafers, simple but stylish. She stepped back, glancing at herself in the mirror as the music played on. A little brow gel to keep things sharp, a soft shimmer of highlighter on her cheekbones, and a swipe of her go-to gloss. Riley danced some more, taking another slow pull as she adjusted her collar. By the time she finished getting ready, the scent of lavender, weed, and her signature scent lingered in the room, wrapping around her like a second skin. She tapped her phone to check the time, 7:45 p.m., just enough time to finish her joint and head out. She grabbed her keys, gave herself one last look in the mirror, and smiled. The night air was warm and soft as she made her way to the car. Riley slid into the driver's seat, her heart light. The restaurant buzzed with quiet conversations and the soft clink of glassware. Warm lighting bathed the space, casting a soft glow over the sleek wooden tables and lush greenery tucked in every corner. The scent of roasted garlic and lemon drifted through the air, mingling with the faint hum of jazz playing in the background. It was the kind of spot that should have felt perfect for a date, and on the surface, it was. Riley stepped inside, adjusting her dinner jacket, and scanned the room until she spotted Tiana sitting at a corner table. She looked stunning. Her emerald green dress hugged her curves just right. Her braids swept back neatly, with gold hoops catching the candlelight. Tiana glanced up, her smile easy and warm, and for a second, Riley managed to shake off the weight pressing on her chest. This was what she was supposed to be doing, getting out, having fun, living her life. And yet, a small voice lingered in the back of her mind. Why does this still feel off? There she is, Tiana greeted, standing up and pulling Riley in for a quick hug. Riley leaned in, catching the familiar hint of vanilla and amber on Tiana's skin. Normally, that scent would have wrapped around her like a comfort, drawing her in. Tonight, it just felt fine. You smell wonderful, Tiana said. Thank you. You smell amazing as well. I'm sorry if I kept you waiting, Riley said, slipping into the seat across from her. Thank you. You didn't, Tiana replied, pouring them both a glass of wine from the bottle she'd ordered. Right on time. I was just getting cozy. Riley smiled and raised her glass, clinking it gently against Tiana's. To good wine and even better company. Tiana grinned. I'll drink to that. They fell into easy conversation, getting to know one another. They talked about work and shared random stories about the weird things their coworkers did. Riley laughed when Tiana teased her about her obsession with rolling perfect joints, and she gave it right back when Tiana admitted to sending voice notes that dragged on far too long. It was fun. The food was good, the wine smooth, and Tiana looked gorgeous. By all accounts, this should have been the kind of night that Riley lived for. But as the evening wore on, the same dull ache began to creep in, the one that had been following her lately, growing harder to ignore. Riley swirled the wine in her glass, watching the liquid spin lazily before taking another sip. Tiana didn't notice anything was off, and Riley wasn't going to let her. It wasn't Tiana's fault. She was doing everything right. Riley was the problem. Or maybe not a problem, just thinking. She'd been in Houston about 5 months now, still piecing together this new life after Memphis and the divorce. The divorce hadn't been messy, no shouting matches or bitterness, just two people realizing they didn't belong together anymore. But even a peaceful ending was still an ending, and ever since, Riley had been searching for something, freedom, fun, connection. She wasn't even sure anymore. All she knew was that whatever she'd been chasing, she hadn't found it. And lately, every good time, every perfect date night, every easy hookup, just haven't been filling her up like they used to. But tonight was supposed to be good, and it would be. Riley shook off the thoughts and leaned into the moment, laughing at Tiana's jokes, trying to match her energy. When the waiter brought out dessert, a lemon tart with fresh berries, Tiana's eyes sparkled as she slid the plate between them. This is about to change your life, Tiana declared, scooping a bite onto her fork. Riley chuckled, grabbing her own fork. You always this dramatic? Only when I know I'm right, Tiana shot back with a wink. The dessert was good, perfect even, and for a little while, Riley managed to stay present. The food, the conversation, the wine, it all unfolded exactly as it should. And yet, in the quiet spaces between bites, Riley's mind kept drifting to the same unsettling place. The thought lingered, heavy and unwelcome, but Riley kept it tucked neatly beneath her smile. There was no need to ruin the night. After all, Tiana looks like that. Later that night, back at her apartment, the music was low, the lighting soft, and the air thick with the familiar scent of lavender and weed. Tiana was stretched out on the couch, her dress riding up just enough to tease. Riley leaned back, joint in hand, her head tilted as she watched Tiana with a lazy smile. You look way too comfortable, Riley teased, taking a slow drag from the joint. Tiana smirked. What can I say? You make it easy. Riley handed her the joint, their fingers brushing briefly in a way that sent a pleasant tingle up her arm. They shared a quiet laugh, the kind that felt like an invitation, and before long, they found themselves tangled together in Riley's bed, skin on skin, breath mingling between kisses. The sex was good, better than good. Tiana knew exactly what she was doing, and Riley gave herself over to the moment, letting the pleasure wash over her like a wave. Afterward, Tiana lay sprawled beside her, her body relaxed, her breathing steady. Riley reached for her phone, checking the time even though there was nowhere she needed to be. She stared at the screen for a moment, the weight in her chest settling heavier. Tiana shifted beside her, running a hand lazily down Riley's arm. You good? Riley turned, pressing a kiss to Tiana's shoulder. Yeah, she whispered. I'm good. And in some ways, that was true. The night had been fun and satisfying, and Tiana was easy to be with. But beneath it all, the same hollow feeling lingered, a quiet ache that told Riley that good times and fleeting moments may not be enough for much longer. Tiana drifted off beside her, but Riley lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Her thoughts swirled, slow and restless, as Jasmine Sullivan's Lost One played faintly from the speaker in the corner, the lyrics hitting a little too close to home. She knew sooner or later she'd have to figure out what she really wanted, what she was really looking for. But tonight wasn't that night. Tonight she let herself be held. Some nights end with answers, others leave you with questions you can't quite name. Either way, you'll want to hear what happens next. That's another Inkstain Confession. Don't forget to subscribe, share it on your socials, and see you next time.